let's check out this channel on the Liver MMA. Gonna jump around a bit here, skip ahead. You guys can watch the full video. I'll have the link in the description.
Is it just me, or whenever Kevin Holland fights as of recent, you notice that something's a little bit off? And you might be wondering, oh, is it just healthy decline? I mean, he's in his 30s, he's getting up there in age. There's also the fact that he moved down to 170 compared to 185, which while he was a slim 185er, a 15-pound weight cut can do a number on your health. But I feel like there's a bit more of a psychological aspect to this that is really interesting and really doesn't have anything to do with age, but more just Kevin Holland's psyche, where he's at in his head, why and how he got to that point. So yeah, let's just jump into it. Look, I don't know if it was the loss to Brennan Allen that fueled him or if it was the pandemic, but this guy just went in and wreaked havoc. Shit talk, antics, knockouts, everything. The Kevin Holland DLC pack arrived, and it was bold, it was brave, it was ferocious.
Yeah, he was a beast for a little while.
He got 5 wins.
He beat Anthony Hernandez
in a calendar year, including
I want to see that one back.
Against Alexander Hernandez and Joaquin Buckley.
That's crazy.
Just like the Jeff Neal fight, aged very well.
Yeah.
It was almost like Kevin Holland was fighting like he just figured out bonuses existed. Just in that 2020 run alone, he received 3 bonuses for his fights. The UFC rewarded him with a fight night main event against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, someone who, just like Kevin Holland, can't wrestle.
The most frustrating fight ever, dude.
And Kevin Holland is the fact that while they both can't wrestle, Kevin Holland can grapple, and despite the complete shutout by Khamzat Chimaev in his last bout, it was excused due to the fact that Khamzat Chimaev was just on a different level. But going into this fight against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Kevin Holland made one of the worst decisions in UFC history.
He told me in the first round, he's like, hey, I'm not taking you down. I'm like, all right, man, sounds good to me.
Now, just for those of you who don't know, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, despite his grappling deficiencies, was undefeated in kickboxing. And he was able to translate all of that knowledge into MMA and make it work. So much so to the point where he was able to challenge for the UFC welterweight championship twice, with both of those fights being incredibly close. But at this point in time, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was aging. While he was still ranked number 6 when he was about to fight Kevin Holland, he was pushing 40. So if there was any top welterweight that Kevin Holland could beat, it probably would have been Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But here's where things get ridiculous on Kevin Holland's end. He made a gentleman's agreement to stand it up with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And oh yeah, I failed to mention that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is also regarded as one of the greatest strikers in the sport of MMA. So regardless of age, this was a bold decision for Kevin Holland. And you might be wondering, well, how did it go?
Declaring the winner by TKO, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
I mean, come on, are you really surprised? Don't get me wrong, Kevin Holland showed heart and he had some moments in the first and second rounds, but by the tail end of it, he was tired, he was broken, and for the first time in his entire career, he had to call it quits in the corner. And to be fair, this was also due to a broken hand, and you know, regardless, he took an unbearable amount of punishment against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in those 3rd and 4th rounds. But hey, here's the thing. He was a man of his word. Whenever they got to the ground, Holland stood it up, and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson did the same. And I mean, hey, it turned out to be a great fight. But that was another loss added to the record of Kevin Holland. And at this point in time, this is where things really start to change. Kevin Holland was able to accrue 2 more wins, beating Santiago Ponzinibbio and Michael Chiesa to get into the welterweight top 15. But shown in his fight against Santiago Ponzinibbio, there was something that just kind of switched off. Despite getting the knockout win, Kevin Holland looked more apprehensive and just worried of getting hit, leading to a lot less output than usual from Kevin Holland.
He does, yeah.
Considering the fact that
damn, I didn't even realize. I didn't really think about that. He does seem a little more apprehensive about getting hit. Before, he used to just come forward and kind of try to like talk shit and be that boisterous Kevin Holland. Now he doesn't want to get hit. I think that Wonderboy fight really changed him.
He had just gotten beaten the shit out of by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson months prior, but it was definitely something to worry about going forward. However, that worry was muffled after he beat Michael Chiesa via Darce choke, and after receiving his ranking, he was set to face Jack Della Maddalena at UFC Noche. At this point in time, Jack Della Maddalena was rocking a 15-fight win streak, and was a huge up-and-coming prospect, who was known primarily for his incredible boxing. And this might have gotten to Kevin Holland because when the fight happened, people believed that it was going to be an incredible slugfest, but it turned out to be an incredibly boring point fight, with Kevin Holland staying at range looking scared to commit, and Jack Della essentially doing the bare minimum. It was a close fight that understandably went the way of Jack Della Maddalena, due to the fact that while Kevin Holland landed more strikes, he landed no damage whatsoever. This side of Kevin Holland was relatively new to us, given the fact that there were no in-cage antics, and it looked like he was taking Jack Della Maddalena seriously, but was only really there to point fight and survive. And it makes you wonder, was this caused by the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight? And in all fairness, Jack Della Maddalena was a scary prospect, but then again, Kevin Holland made no effort to take it to the ground. So at this point in time, Kevin Holland went from being a brave, commendable warrior to looking like just some average journeyman. I mean, if you look at his run in 2020 compared to his run now, the difference is pretty much night and day. But let's think about this real quickly. Maybe despite the huge jumps in competition from time to time, Holland has either A, never given himself the time, or B, never taken in the effort to improve. Because the caliber of opponent at welterweight is a stark contrast from the fighters at middleweight. But given his activity and despite his honesty, that might be something that Kevin Holland's trying to hide. And in his last fight this year against Michael Venom Page, the lack of improvement showed as he got thoroughly outclassed round by round. And with Michael Venom Page also being an incredibly seasoned striker, again, Holland made hardly any effort to bring it to the ground. And when he did, he won those exchanges. But it just seemed like he was being incredibly stubborn and just wanted to keep it on the feet. Like there was something to prove to himself, or maybe even his ego. But real quickly, let me put something into perspective real quick. In Kevin Holland's first 10 fights in the UFC, he was 8-2. And now, in his last 10 fights, he is 4-5-1 no contest. And while there was a noticeable jump in competition, it also shows a lack of improvement from Kevin Holland. And you know, maybe there's something that we're not seeing that's going on behind the scenes, but I don't really want to insinuate anything. All I can really say right now is it's just not looking good for Kevin Holland, and he hasn't been looking great as of recent. And to really end off the topic of this video, I want to quote something from Kendrick Lamar's Damn real quick. Love's gonna get you killed, but pride's gonna be the death of you. And if you're watching this, Kevin Holland, I really want you to take that quote into perspective, because he is fighting this weekend at UFC 302 against Michael Oleksiejczuk. And yes, he's moving back up a division, most likely because of the
wins that fight, thankfully.
Through this time around.
Won that fight.
Hey, I believe in him. I think he's gonna beat Michael Oleksiejczuk, but for me, it all depends how. Thank you so much for watching. This is On The Liver MMA, signing out.
Yo, I rocks with this channel. Thoroughly entertained by On The Liver MMA. I didn't have much to say in there. It's a lot of good information. You guys should definitely go subscribe to On The Liver MMA. Thank you guys. If you made it this far, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.